Hey guys, Flex over here. Just wanted to make one more video, mainly a commentary video, right? Anyone that knows me knows I'm like one of those. I kind of look at what happened, at every angle and look for areas of improvement, areas of weakness, and ultimately how can the team grow. So you'll also see my point of view in this. And something I immediately do, I've had huge success with it. Being that this was my first time on zOO, I wasn't, I didn't call any shots or anything like that, but I wanted to know exactly who the heavy hitters are, or at least where they're going. And I'm starting to see, quite a few, Artemis, Orion's pretty typical. You've got, some Hades out there. Not seeing any super strong guys going top, but it looks like they've got about 70% of the team pushing top lane. And then you've got a few guys going bottom, but they're going at different paces, and you've only got a few, so it doesn't really seem like they're entirely committed, which doesn't necessarily worry me at that point, because I know they're just going to get stomped on. So those guys going bottom lane, they might do a little roadblock, but not too worried about them. Going mid, once again, not seeing anything too impressive, but what's worrying me right off the bat is this node 10, this fight at node 10. Usually in a situation like this, I tell my guys, let's hide. And when I say hide, that means go inside the node and reinforce. Do not, stand outside. And they're not really doing that, but they've got an alarming amount of guys over there in node 10, and I'm not quite sure how many are in HQ. So I checked it out. It looks like they've got, 35? They've got almost 60 million just waiting in HQ. I don't know how many guys are in top node, but I see what's going on in 11, and it's looking good so far. So, the organization, the discipline is there. However, I'm not sure, the node 10 is really, really kind of worrying me. We've got about 10 guys or so, 15 guys. Looks like we're advancing over, but, in a situation like this, you're so close to having your entire fleet destroyed. Like we hit node 10 and it was 100 stack, and we weren't already, right? We were still getting into that area, and that was something that I think we can learn from. We can recognize that if we're ever going to do that again, possibly let's make sure the team's ready. We did end up winning node 10, but that was a really good play by Rbn. I call it the roadblock or the speed hump, whatever it is. It's just a disruptor, right? It disrupted a huge amount of our team. Luckily, we're still pretty strong bottom. We got 100 stack bottom. Middle guys are going to go try to head over to 13, because 13 is arguably the most, important node besides 14. Since our fleets got pretty wiped, I immediately do a refresh. I do a refresh just because you want to have your shields up. And without that, any attack, you're just going to... there's just no point battling if your fleet's, like halfway drained. So do a quick refresh, go back down. Everything's looking good so far. I mean, node 14, once again, we're not... You can see right now the discipline. No one's attacking. We're taking 13, but over at node 14, I don't know if I go down there. And then you see OK giving the command to hold 13, 14. But once again, you see how we're not doing that. We're not attacking 14 because we're not together. So well done on the discipline over there at 14. You guys did great. Having the mistake at 10, we'll rebound from that. But it's clear that 11 is going to be 11's ready to go. We've got that 10's ready to go. We're starting to refresh, which is good. You can see the guys start going back. You can see them doing the quick withdraws, and we're waiting to take node 14 and then potentially have full control of the map. Meanwhile, you can see RBN is pretty much overpowered, outnumbered, and they're screwed at this point. The only thing they can do is a Hail Mary, which you can never rule out. A team like this can never rule out a Hail Mary because they're smart, and it doesn't take too much to throw a big team off if they're not disciplined. There's a lot of strong teams out there that don't really have a game plan that smaller teams like mine in the past have been able to wipe out. So here what we're doing is just, it's the right move. We take node 14, we're holding down 13, but most importantly, we're repairing and refresh. Refresh, repair, refresh, repair. That's the name of the game when you're in a full map control position thinking about a possible advance on HQ. So previously, we know HU had 50 million inside while, most of their fleets were out. Not sure how many's in there right now, but in RBN's position, like I was mentioning earlier, they've got to make a Hail Mary. So what does that mean? It's a straggler fleet. It's a bait. And that's what RBN did. And I think a lot of people can learn from this move because I've done it many times. And if it's done right, you'll see just how effective it can be. So once you'll notice, not a single time a zOO player went into HQ. Even if you're adjusting from 13 to 14, no matter what it is, not a single time did a player go into HQ, which it seems simple. It seems common sense, but over a year of playing the game, it's huge discipline. So kudos to zOO and all the players for really, really staying disciplined here, because you can tell RBN is ready to fight back, and they're going to do a tricky little, the thing, and they're going to bait. A bait is really, in my opinion, when I say a bait is you're drawing, you're drawing a player out that's potentially going to disrupt the swarm. And when I say swarm, I mean, the 40 players or 50 players that are about to hit your HQ. So by having 2 to 3 guys outside their HQ, you can tell, you can anticipate that they're going to try to break us up. So, how do you avoid this? There's kind of 2 trains of thought. You can have everyone attack HQ at the same time. The only problem is if you're attacking HQ at the same time, that's when you've got these bait fleets out that can target the strongest players, and you're pretty much eliminating the top guys on the other team. Meanwhile, everyone else is attacking your full stack that's reinforced. So, having a 3 million power player attack our 16 million power player, and then having someone bait, like right here. So there goes T-Love attacking one of our guys, immediately breaking up his stack. We're trying to join battle, but then you see a 5 million power player take on one of our guys. You see many of their guys immediately disrupting our momentum. Now, this is where RBN made a huge mistake. So this was his mistake. When you're going to do a bait fleet, the idea is to break up the attack on your HQ. So you're just buying it time. That's, in my opinion, that's the idea. And if you notice, T-Love was the only one to go and try to do this. If he had 5 or 6 more players go out and reinforce him just a little bit, it would have bought a little bit more time. And why is that important? Well, because they're immediately coming out attacking all of our other fleets. And so in the end, if you're going to break up the initial attack on your HQ, it has to last long enough to where you're distracting those players to not be able to attack at the same time. So in his situation, they did a good job by attacking many of our other fleets, breaking us up, but then it wasn't long enough before we were all able to attack HQ. You notice how there's 4 or 5 other battles happening? It's the same thing that needed to happen with T Love's battle. If he had a few more guys, in my opinion at least, a few more guys, you would have been able to have us hit a 300 stack, but it wouldn't have been with all of the players that we had available, because it would have still been they would have still been in the T-Love battle. So, you know, it's just my opinion. Usually the timing has to be right. T-Love, if he waited a little bit, if he waited a little longer in HQ and then immediately attacked from the swarm, that would have been enough to possibly break us up completely. But, you know, it didn't happen. However, they did a great job, great maneuvers. You know, zOO, great discipline. Shout out to Rabbit Conan. Ultimately, it was just it was an awesome game. GG, guys.